I'm at Starbucks, of course, having a nice frappuccino. Let me tell you, I have not been on the air for a couple of days because I've had no internet connection. There's a freeze in Houston, and there's so much going on in the atmosphere. But it's the same story. They're still throwing witchcraft, chaos, magic. My phone was off for a couple of days. Just the hacking situation. Um, so I want to apologize on behalf of the ops. You know, and it's funny because they're still doing this, and it might cause a little temporary uh, setback. No, but not like before. Now, what I do again, I transmute the energy. I've been getting a lot of rest, working out, putting my life together, and focusing on reopening the school on time. So be a little patient with me because I've been hard hit and continue to get hard hit. But I'm up for the fight. You can't have an Aries moon, a finger of God, without, you know, I used to tell my brothers and my friends, I may get knocked out of my horse, but I'll go fuck you, and I get back on the horse. 100 times I get knocked out, 100 times I'm back on that horse, you know, and that's not gonna change in me. That's not gonna change. No, and this is the essence of cardinality. I dropped my straw. Hold on. Okay. Yeah. No. What they're trying to do is exhaust me. But I know that's what they're trying to do. And I'm not going to give them my energy or any frustration or anything like that. No. They are so cheap and amateurish. Now, you steady. Okay. All right. Pluto in the 11th house. I did a part one with the Buddhists because I wanted to show that the Buddhism philosophy is a whole different mindset and a whole different way of thinking and a whole different way at looking at the world. So I chose the imagery of the Buddhist temple to define the psychology of Aquarius. Aquarius lives with us, right, on Earth, but his mentality lives somewhere else. And you got two types of Aquarians: those who are very social and infuse themselves into society, making changes, causing chaos, giving shock value to help the collective think and rethink old value system, and to give the collective a possibility of another choice into looking into an old paradigm in a new way. These are one of the gifts of Aquarius. The 11th house rules brotherhoods, secret societies, fraternities. It does rule the Masonic and Illuminati and all the occult, and also occult covens. They begin formation in the 11th house, and they culminate as action in the 12th house. But the 11th house deals with friends. If you watch the sitcom, it's no longer on, Friends. Uh, Again, it was a very well written sitcom, it lasted a long time, and whoever wrote it knew what they were doing. Uh, with Friends as the focal point of life for Aquarians and those with strong 11th houses and strong Uranus or strong uh, 11th house because it's ruled by Uranus in Aquarius, then we're dealing with different philosophies, different beliefs, different lifestyles among friends. That also includes their political beliefs or social political beliefs. The 11th house also rules um, power struggles and difficult situations that you must face. If you don't, they become worse. And now we're entering into the 12th house, the house of sorrow. Right? But with the Pluto in the 11th house, the enemy can be your friends. Not a friend, because that's the 7th house, one on one. In the 11th house, it's a group. Either you are connected to a group that exalts you, or you are connected to a group that's out to destroy you. And we have to look at the possibility of the latter because Pluto rules deception, treachery, betrayal, death, and all the good things that are elements of a good action soap opera. It gets worse as we enter the 12th. But the 11th house also can put you into a dynamic of power struggles with friends that are not really friends, but are out to deceive you, hurt you in a certain way. With Pluto in the 11th house, there may be phobias and fears concerning uh, being killed in a crowded setting or a mob where people are stepping on each other and people die that way because they're being trampled by other people as they're running from safety. This is the 11th house where being uh, meeting your demise is like watching a football game with 20,000 people in the stadium. There's a fire and explosion, and everybody can't get out at once. And you fall trip, and now you're gonna die that way. So this is one aspect of going through a worst case scenario, right? Also, the Pluto in the 11th house has talks about both individually and collectively as a source of great knowledge and great power. Malcolm X is an example, whether he had Pluto in the 11th house or not, where there's a belief in some kind of conviction, some kind of philosophy that one is willing to die protecting or bringing to the surface. Right? It involves a lot of intrigue. Uh, my frappuccino. I had about two of these, but see, but I'm very slender, so I'm trying to, gain weight. So that's the fun part of eating. Despite the fact that I got no teeth, and I gotta get that squared away. Um, Pluto in the 11th house is going to expose you to situations that you must bring under control and you alone. It's also, if you're dealing with a rebel and someone who's like a whistleblower, it's a very lonely position because there's also, like Pluto in the 10th house, a feeling of persecution. But in the 10th house, it's family and also vendettas, which falls under the mob psychology. But in the 11th house, Pluto deals with uh, persecution from a group or even a whole country or a collective. And that's a lot of energy that's negative, directed towards one individual. But it usually stands out, though, that the higher the opposition as a group against one person, the more that one person possesses a great power 10 times that of the group. This is something that the person with Pluto in the 11th house may know or may not know about themselves. It's like, and it's not hard to believe that people with Pluto in the 11th house are unaware of their power until they are challenged and they are forced to take out that power. The 11th house also deals with um, the concerns and needs of your friends. uh. It is also in derivative astrology, derivative houses. The 11th house is second to the 10th house. So it's also the house of wealth. So with Pluto in the 11th, you know, you can become quite the wealthy businessman or entrepreneur. But it's not because you wanted to get there as a goal. It became a default gift for you. Because with Pluto in the 11th house, there's also two dynamics playing at the same time. The trust of the collective towards this person. So then the collective takes care of this person, sustains this person, protects this person. But then you have also the demiurgic quality of the individual with Pluto in the 11th house that seeks to destroy the collective, hurt the collective. An example of this is David Koresh from Waco, Texas. He was Sagittarius, and he killed 40 women and children in a fire. They're like, if you don't believe in what I believe, then I will kill you too. So now we have an individual with great transformative power using it against the collective. Another example, which I mentioned before, is Jim Jones from Jonestown, that took 800 people from Los Angeles to Guyana and killed them all, including the security guards, to poison Kool-Aid. If they don't concede to his belief, then he will kill them all and take himself with him. Another person is Adolf Hitler. Adolf Hitler did not start out evil. He was quite gentle, Taurus, and loved art. And for the life, all his life, he wanted to be an artist and wanted to go to the school of Vienna. He was rejected. That hurt him so bad that when he took over as the leader of the Third Reich, he went right to Vienna and burned the school down to the ground. So it can flip on you. Okay? Also, there seems to be, and again, we still are trying to figure out more information about Pluto in the 11th house, and that is that there it seems to be issues of accidents or takeovers, like hostage situation is 11th house Pluto. Well, a group of people are held hostage, like what's happening at the Gaza Strip with those people that were held hostage. The United States or Israel did not respond in time, and these people were killed. This is Pluto in the 11th house. Mm. It's so tasty and fruit-like. Hmm. So, by progression, and I'm talking about minutes with Pluto. Don't forget that Pluto has an orbit of 248 years. So the last time Pluto was in the 11th house by the mundane chart of the United States, we're going back to uh, late 1700s or early 1800s. But if we look at it from a longer stretch of time, Pluto was in Aquarius or in the 11th house 26,000 years ago. What happened then in history that can give us clues as this go around again in the 11th house? And will it be the same lessons that societies had to learn 26,000 years ago? Or are these new lessons that we're here to learn and absorb? As humanity continues to evolve and grow, so will the demands and needs of the individual. And Pluto in the 11th house accents those virtues. With the 11th house Pluto, there's also a sense of powerful betrayal. Just powerful betrayal. And being killed by your friends. An example in history is Julius Caesar. He loved Brutus, Cassius, and Casca. But his boy, the one that he loved, was Brutus. And Brutus was the first or the last to kill Julius Caesar by the sword. So these are friends he grew up with, loved like siblings, and they ended up killing him. Julius Caesar did not see that coming, nor did he know that his best friends were going to kill him that day. This is Pluto in the 11th house of friends. The enemy are your friends, or it could be one or a group. Okay? This is the aspect that I wanted to bring out and discuss because the first part talks more esoterically and altruistically about the mindset of Aquarians and also the vibration that the 11th house brings because the 11th house with Pluto here brings these types of individuals. But you could have a group of individuals who are unique and special to each other, or it could be the same group of people with the same gifts. So this is something that astrologers will not be able to detect in an obvious way of observation. It is deeply personal. And when it comes to the collective, there has to be signatures or indicators of public societal unrest, which always is a theme of Pluto. But as an individual, it's very difficult to assess or even create a synthesis of what might be wrong with you or wrong with your life. Not that anything necessarily has to be wrong, but you have to understand that Pluto is a planet that rules crisis. And the lessons to learn with Pluto in any house or sign will always be through intense crisis, forcing the person or the group to reevaluate and reassess itself. This occurred when Castro took over Cuba and made it a communist because he didn't want the United States to assert control. And like he said, we don't want you to bully us and think that you can come in here and treat us like shit. Fuck you and fuck your democracy. And then Castro proceeded to destroy the churches and then establish communism in the island nation of Cuba. This is another example of Pluto in the 11th house. Also, the betrayal. Castro was going to liberate Cuba. And when he did, he turned around and made it communist against the consent of the people. That's another way that Pluto in the 11th house operates. Fruit like, I don't know, I could just coffee. You don't taste like coffee. Mm. That's all we know. We're still researching. In my 20s, I did lots of surveys. I like surveys. I was very much into research. You know, um, you guys should look at the birth charts on www.astrodatabank.com. Thousands and thousands of charts are there that you can take and study and examine. That's what I do. When I'm not doing birth charts, I'm doing research because there's still a lot to learn. So some of these planets were recently discovered, and even if they're ancient, there are no astrologers with the wisdom and experience of human interaction to observe how these planetary energies work in individual charts. And perhaps there's an astrologer out there in the collective that will take this torch so that we can have a complete picture of humanity, which is reflected upon the gods. Guys, thank you so much. We're going to move into Pluto in the 12th house, Pisces. And that's another fascinating and very interesting position for Pluto. Again, very poorly understood. Very poorly understood. The 12th house is one of the most complex houses in astrology, and many astrologers still don't know much about it. Right? So, guys, thank you so much. Again, please donate, please give, so we can keep the channel going. Once I finish with Pluto in the 12th house, I'm going to move into the series of Mercury. And I think you will like that. I think you'll like that. Okay, it's my cash app is Fernando FERNA number 5NDO and ZELLE 281-690-8825. Join my Patreon page. I upload 4 videos per month. Okay, and by my videos are compatibility and incompatibility of charts through Vimeo, and of course other streams. For those of you who are interested in applying it to the school to be professional astrologers, that's open now. You can email me, and you have to go through an interviewing process. You gotta send transcripts. I need to make sure that you have some background schooling. So to see if you can handle the material is very rigorous. So I'm really excited about that. I'm still working on charts with my people in Detroit and other people that I have not heard from. So, people are busy doing what they do. But when you purchase a birth chart, it's for the whole year. So you're not missing anything, and you have me personally to talk to you about any situation that may be playing you. You're paying for the exclusivity as well. So you're good for a whole year if I don't hear from you, if you don't hear from me um, while we navigate through these spiritual warfare with these apps and currents and blah blah blah. Okay? So, guys, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to helps somebody.